Episode 5 of Grotesquerie is here. Okay, this show is wild, okay? It is a never-ending roller coaster. Let's get into it, okay? We start off episode 5 with Lois and sister Megan the Stallion in the desert, still driving with this troubled unknown woman in the back seat. The young woman says she got hit and that it was an accident. Lois is unsure that it was an accident. The young woman says that she needs to clean herself up and that there's a motel ahead. She says her name is Andrea. Lois is convinced that someone beat her. They pull into the motel. Andrea says that Lois and sister Megan should stay there until the fires go down. Sister Megan feels off and feels there are hallucinogens in the smoke. They plan to get a room and speak with the front desk woman who tells them the pools are purple from the copper and the smoke. She says that the fires will eventually go down. As they're speaking, the everything guy of the motel, Nick, walks by. Okay, now Nick seems a little angry, okay, a little creepy too, alright? Sister Megan heads to the room. Lois stays behind as she notices bruises on the face of the young woman at the front desk. She tells Lois not to be concerned. This is now 2 abused women, okay? Lois and sister Megan go to check on Andrea. They knock on the bathroom door, no answer. They go inside and find no one, but they see bloody tissues or newspapers everywhere, as well as bloody footprints that they follow through a motel room where 2 people are eerily seated, watching TV as if nothing happened. Lois and sister Megan go to their room. Sister Megan starts praying. After bickering back and forth, sister Megan says that they should listen to the man from the gas station and clear the debris from the side of the motel so that it doesn't catch fire. Lois has no interest in helping, so sister Megan goes outside alone. Lois calls Nurse Sexy Red. Nurse Red asks if Lois gave any more thought to the conversation they had regarding Marshall. We then see sister Megan outside. She stares out into the desert and says she thinks someone is out there. Next thing you know, she hears 2 cars crash, okay? And at this point, it is pure chaos. Sister Megan runs over to see if anyone was hurt. At the same time of the accident, I think it was Nick, who works at the motel, who was pushing one of the girls' heads under the water. And I'm like, what is wrong with Nick? I knew he was angry. Okay, Sister Megan then tries to stop that. Sister Megan is trying to save the world. Okay, bless her heart. She then runs back to the room to tell Lois that Nick is dangerous and that they need to leave. Lois lost her connection with Nurse Sexy Red and all she cares about is getting to a phone. She goes to the front desk and sees that Andrea's face has even more bruises on it. Lois uses the phone at the front desk as Nick calls her to the back. She then notices the same Last Supper snow globe from the gas station, and out of nowhere, someone starts shooting at her, bitch. She gets low and makes it to the room with sister Megan to grab them guns, bitch. She tells sister Megan to get in the bathroom, ho. Lois says that he is stalking them. He as in Grotesquerie. Sister Megan is praying and Lois has had enough of the prayer. They then hear Nick screaming at Andrea. They go outside to see that he's pointing a gun at the front desk girl. Andrea is behind her on her knees. Then a black truck pulls up and someone gets out of it. Lois begins shooting at them. This person picks Andrea up and puts her in the truck. Sister Megan runs over to try to save her and realizes that she's been shot. She falls to the ground and Lois runs over to her. Sister Megan tells her to pray with her. We then see Sister Megan in an ambulance and I'm like, how did we get here? They're now at the hospital. Lois is at bedside. And who shows up to show their support? Father Charles. And nope, I still don't think he is the killer. He brought flowers of his own and threw out the carnations that had already been there, saying that carnations depress Sister Megan. Lois tells him that the doctors don't want to offer any false hope regarding Sister Megan's condition. He asks what the fuck Sister Megan was doing out there with her. Lois clapped back saying that Sister Megan was out covering crimes and murders, which is what you encourage her to do. He tells Lois that they were followed and hunted. He says that Lois uses people. He says that Lois needs to go find the killer and to go now. He was being a bit of an asshole here. And I'm like, not too much of my auntie. Lois gets up and walks out of the room only to encounter her fellow detective. She says that she'll be her second set of eyes. They then begin trying to figure out who the killer is. They list a few suspects, but they're all ruled out. There is one suspect, however, by the name of Gloria McCall, whom Lois thought had life in prison, but has actually been released. She was released 2 months ago, which Lois says is about the same time the murder started. We then see Lois sleeping on the floor. Girl, it looked like Lois was sleeping good. Okay, she gets a call. What do you think it's about? You guessed it, another crime has occurred, alright? This time at a maternity house connected to St. Agnes Church. There are multiple pregnant victims, all of which whose babies have been removed from their wombs. Lois emphasizes that Grotesquerie waited until she was out of town to do this. The governor has now ordered the FBI to take over this case. Officer Jack's punk ass said that he'll likely lose his job and they'll likely have Lois retire. Jack says that maybe the killings will stop once Lois is off the case. She doesn't believe that, however. She says that this killer specifically wants her to hunt them. She plans to continue the hunt until she's fired. Grotesquerie left a phrase on the wall that says, "Follow me, Detective Tryon, and let the dead bury the dead," which is a quote from Matthew 8:22. Jack then receives a call and he's told that they found something. They go to a house where there are children home alone. The mother is nowhere to be found. There's an officer on site. One of the children told the neighbor that their mom left with a man the night before. Lois speaks with the little girl and she tells her that their mom is pregnant, which of course leads me to believe that she was at the maternity center where all the pregnant women were murdered. Lois asks if the girl can describe the man that came by last night, and the girl begins crying immediately, bitch. Lois leaves and drives up the road to find a smoking car. It's empty. It has bloody newspaper similar to what we seen at the motel. She walks past the car near some orange trees to hear a woman crying. There's a very creepy ass woman holding a baby wrapped in newspaper. Lois takes the baby. The woman says he's coming, just like Andrea did at the end of episode 4. Who the fuck is coming? Okay, and Andrea said that at the end of episode 4. Was she talking about Nick, or is she talking about the same person that this old creepy ass woman is talking about? This was another good episode. I am thoroughly intrigued. Okay, now this miraculous woman, okay, who was released out of prison, is she the killer? Is she Grotesquerie? Girl, I guess we gotta keep watching to find out.